So let's start with the question. There are total 17 questions which are very easy to moderate. Let's start with the first question. In essence, what does due process of law mean? So we all know this. This is related to due process of law and procedure established by law. There is some difference between both that was directly given in our basic books. So this is opposite of this. So this cannot be the correct answer. Due process of law means giving substance to the law. Giving substance, ensuring whether the law is correct or not. Law is correct or not is known as due process of law. We all know this. This case is related to Mr. A.K. Gopalan versus the so-called Menaka Gandhi. So in the A.K. Gopalan case, the Supreme Court has just confined itself to procedure established by law. But in Menaka Gandhi case, the Supreme Court went a step ahead and it has interpreted the constitution altogether in a different way, and through that concept the due process of law has been established. So what is the major difference between due process and procedure established by law? In the procedure established by law, the court is just seeing whether you have followed the steps or not. The executive is following the steps of legislature or not. But here the executive or the judiciary questions the law itself, whether the law is correct or not. That is called due process of law. So what do you mean by due process of law? This is not this. The principles of natural justice doesn't come in this concept, because natural justice is a very wider context, whether that can be there or not in due process of law. But what they are looking is whether the law is applied fairly or not. Whether the law is applied fairly or not. Equality before law is another concept. So the answer for this question is C. Next question. Consider the following statements. In India, prisons are managed by the state government with their own rules and regulations for the day-to-day administration of prisons. Yes, prisons is a state subject. How you know? Many state governments are giving prisons exams, or if you want to become a police constable or a home guard or prison guard, then state exam is the one which is you are going to write. Hence it is state government. In India, prisons are governed by the Prisoners Act 1894, which is expressly kept the subject of prisons in the control of provincial government. Hence, in the 1894, the British government kept prisons under the control of provinces rather than at the center. Hence, that was continued even after independence in the year 1947, and hence that was transferred to state subject in Schedule 7 of Indian Constitution. This is correct, and this is the correct explanation of first statement. So the answer for this is both the statements are correct, and 2 is correct explanation of 1. Let's look at the next question. Which among the following statements best reflects the chief purpose of Constitution? Many times we have discussed this. We have also discussed in AKS IAS Prelims discussion, right? Quick revision program. So what I said, Constitution means the philosophy of constitutionalism is limited government. Rule of law means limited government. So what is the philosophy of Constitution? Rule of law. In the rule of law, that can be established by limited government. Many times they ask this question, and this is another question that has been repeated. It is the same question which they have asked in the earlier years, but the only pattern of the question was changed. So you can consider this the old wine in a new bottle. So it defines and limits the powers of government. So this is the purpose for which Constitution is there. If the government is unlimited, it becomes monarchical, just like Bahubali movie Rana, right? I have discussed with the same example. So answer is C. Let's look at the next question. In India, which of the following constitutional amendments was widely believed to be enacted to overcome the judicial interpretation of fundamental rights? A very substantial question. Again, this question was like old wine in the new bottle. Why? Last year they have asked, last but 1 year they have asked, under which Constitutional Amendment Act 9th Schedule was enacted? The same question was reiterated back in this form. So the answer was first constitutional amendment. There was many doubts for students here whether that is first or 44th or 42nd. Many people say 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, thinking that it is mini parliament or mini constitution. No. What the question is, the law has been established to overcome judicial interpretations is first constitutional amendment. The answer is 1. Why this is 1? Look, in the year 1949, Government of India has launched or we have come with Constitution of India. It has given us 7 fundamental rights, in which right to property is one fundamental right. Right to property is a fundamental right under this. Now, the moment Jawaharlal Nehru has went for organizing the land reforms, the Prime Minister got a big shock from the Jamindars challenging right to property as their defense against the land reforms. So this land reforms was challenged on behalf of this right to property. In order to overcome this right, what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's government did, they have enacted first Constitutional Amendment Act, they made Schedule 9, and they have brought some laws under this saying that if these laws are going to be interpreted or if these laws are going to be included, you cannot go to the codes. That is called first schedule. So the answer is first Constitutional Amendment, not these 3. Many people are thinking B, but not B, this is A. Next question. Consider the following organizations and bodies in the question. Very simple question. Among all the questions, this is one of the easiest thing. I have already discussed this again in our classroom in our quick revision program at AKS IAS. Have a look. Consider the following organization, bodies in India. Which among the following are constitutional bodies? The National Commission for Backward Classes is a constitutional body because it was there in Article 338, Article Clause B. Right? This is the article for which it was enacted, and this is through your latest Constitutional Amendment Act. So this is a constitutional body, whereas National Human Rights Commission is a statutory body, not a constitutional one. National Law Commission, neither statutory nor constitutional body. National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, established as per Consumers' Rights Act. So this is a statutory body. So only one statement is correct here. What is that? First statement. So the answer for this question is A. Let's go for 6th question. Consider the following statements. Now this question is relating to the so-called elections of president. If the election of the president of India is declared void by the Supreme Court, all acts done by him or her in the performance of duties of the office of president before the date of decisions become invalid. Again, I said elections is going to be asked, elections of president is going to be asked, and there are 2 questions on this. This is the proof, right? Now, whenever president elections are going to become invalidated, the decisions taken by him is not going to get invalidated. So this is wrong. They will be valid as long as he was in the office. So the first statement is a wrong statement. Direct Lakshmikant also. Elections for the post of President of India can be postponed on the grounds that some state legislative assemblies have been dissolved and elections are yet to take place. This cannot happen. Even though the state legislatures are participating in the elections of president, there is no stead and fast rule that all the state legislatures has to be present. Even if they are dissolved, the Election Commission of India can go ahead and conduct elections for President of India. So this is again a wrong statement. Let's look at the 3rd statement. When a bill is presented to the President of India, the Constitution prescribes the time limits within which he or she has to declare his assent or her assent. This is absolutely wrong. Why? This is in current affairs. Look at what Mr. Stalin has written to various states and the central government asking that the governor should be given some time frame. Even the same thing is enjoyed by the president. You do not have any time frame, neither the Constitution discusses that time frame. So this is again, it can be linked with the current affairs. It was given because Stalin has written that. It was endorsed by Kerala Chief Minister, it was endorsed by Aam Aadmi Party, it was endorsed by Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal. So the question was related to it. So none of the statements are correct. So D is the option for this. 7th question. With reference to finance bill and money bill, which of the following statements are correct? A simple question again, they are asking what is the difference between finance bill and money bill. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't get confused with Lakshmikant articles writing finance bill 1, finance bill 2 and getting confused. No need for confusion. Just remember all the finance bills as finance bills and money bills as money bill. Now there is some difference between finance bills and money bills. In money bills, the exclusive power will be with the Lok Sabha, whereas with the finance bills, both enjoy more or less equal rights. That is the thing. When the Lok Sabha transmits finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill. I said Rajya Sabha has equal powers in finance bill, they can do it. When the Lok Sabha transmits money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend or reject the bill. It can only make recommendations. Yes, it can make recommendations, but it cannot amend or reject. So limited powers of Rajya Sabha in money bill, I have discussed. This question was also discussed in quick revision program of Polity just before 3 days of the exam. In case of disagreement between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for money bill, and a joint sitting becomes necessary for a finance bill. You can go ahead. So only all the statements here are correct. How many statements are correct? All the statements are correct. Very simple question. Right. So the next question is, consider the following statements. Once the central government notifies an area as community reserve. Why this is in news, guys? This is in news because in Kerala, last 3 months back or 4 months back, there was one special economic zones concept which was there in the Hindu. Many times articles has come, as a result they have given community reserves. Community reserves are, by the way, they are present in Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So they have given in this. Once an area is declared as a community reserve, the chief wildlife warden of the state becomes the governing authority. Yes, this is correct. He becomes the in charge of this area. Hunting is not allowed in such area. That is the reason. That is hunting is not allowed. You cannot hunt the animals which are present here. People of such area are allowed to collect non-timber forest to produce. Yes, they are allowed to collect non-timber. That is what the meaning is. Community living in harmony with the ecosystem. I don't kill anything, but I will utilize something which is available by not damaging the nature there. Hence, that is present. People of such area are allowed traditional agricultural practices. Now, this was the point of contention where many institutes have given wrong answer. Please remember this. People of such area are allowed to traditional agricultural practices. This is wrong. Why this is wrong? When they are allowed to collect non-timber, why they are not allowed to practice this traditional agriculture? That is the question, right? Traditional agriculture includes not only saving of the crops, but there is one major traditional agriculture, that is shifting cultivation or jung cultivation. This type of things are not allowed in community reserves. So remember that. Our brain won't strike there, but that is the thing on which they are asking. So only 3 statements are correct. All 3 statements are correct. How many statements are correct? 3 statements are correct in this. With reference to scheduled areas in India, again we discussed this in the quick revision program. More or less 8 to 9 questions of polity have been revised in 20 hours quick revision program of our AKS IAS itself. Again, this was the proof. With reference to scheduled areas in India, consider the following statements. Within a state, the notification of an area as scheduled area is given through an order of president. I always said this. Scheduled areas means president. Scheduled tribes means governor. So the question is this, and they have asked this. The largest administrative unit forming the scheduled area is the district, and the lowest is the cluster of villages in the block. Yes, this is also correct. So this is quite very difficult because you have to read Schedule 5 in depth to understand this. But if you read Schedule 5 in depth, the Constitution Bare Act, it is present there. So this is correct. The Chief Minister of the concerned states are required to submit annual reports to the Union Home Ministry on the administration of scheduled areas in the state. This is not Chief Minister. Rather, you have Governor here. So it is Governor, not Chief Minister. So what is the statement? 1 and 2 are correct. So only 2 statements are correct. No, I don't say it is easy. It is bit moderate or tough question because only one thing you can eliminate. Consider the following statements. The Supreme Court of India has held in some judgments that reservation policies made under Article 16 Clause 4 of the Constitution of India would be limited by Article 335 for maintenance of efficacy in administration. What is Article 335? When giving reservations, make sure that these reservations are not going to disturb the efficacy of administration. Now, this was reiterated by Supreme Court in its consequential seniority judgment of M. Nagaraj 2006. So, there was one Supreme Court judgment in M. Nagaraj case of 2006, where the Supreme Court said that you can consider reservations even in promotions for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. However, make sure that they are not going to disturb your efficacy of administration. So, this is correct statement. Article 335 of the Constitution of India defines the term. I said very clearly in the classroom, maximum number of times if the question is defined in the Constitution, it will be a wrong thing. That type of things are not defined in the Constitution. Efficacy of Constitution not defined. Office of profit not defined. What is contempt of court not defined. So many things are not defined. Codification of privileges not defined. So not defined is the thing. It doesn't define. This is the key statement here. So the moment you are going to say this is wrong, this is assertion reasoning question or analytical question. So the answer is going to be only statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is going to be incorrect, option is going to be C. 11th question. With reference to the home guards, consider the following statements. So home guards. Again, just like your prisons, they have asked home guards. Now, if you look at this trend, UPSC started asking about prison reforms or criminal justice system, and they started asking about some other components of the state police department, that is home guards. Home guards are raised under the Home Guards Act and the rules of central government. This is correct. They are raised under the Home Guards Act. Very difficult question, by the way. The role of home guards is to serve as an auxiliary force to the police maintenance of internal security. Yes, home guards play their crucial role in maintaining the so-called internal peace. Third one, to prevent infiltration from the international borders and the coastal areas, the border wing home guards battalions have been raised in some states. Yes, in some states, in order to protect the infiltration from foreign land, what they do is they raise this armed rebellion or they raise this armed home guards. Where we have discussed, I have said this in internal security concepts, right? So this is also correct. In states like Punjab, Haryana, Jammu Kashmir, they are acting as border management force also. So how many statements are correct? First statement is correct, second statement is correct, third statement is correct. All the statements are correct here. Next. With reference to India, consider the following questions. Again, this is a very tough question, guys. Unauthorized wearing of police military uniforms is guarded by not Official Secrets Act. It is guarded by the so-called Military Act of India. Not this. So first statement is a wrong statement. Knowingly misleading or otherwise interfering with a police officer or a military officer when engaged in their duties comes as a crime under Official Secrets Act, not the Indian Evidence Act. Celebrity gunfire which can endanger the personal safety of others. This is Arms Amendment Act 2019. Why? This was in news in 2019. As a result, question was expected in the last 2 years, but they asked after 2 years of framing the question. Hence, the answer is only one statement is correct. So what is the nature of the question? The nature of the question is very difficult. We cannot answer these type of questions in the examination hall with the mindset that we are and with the preparation that we have. Consider the following statements in respect of the national flag of India according to the Flag Code of India 2002. The question is why they asked this question this year. Right? They asked this because in the Parliament of India, there was a national emblem which has kept, and there was huge discussion about the fierce lions that was kept on the top of the Parliament. In that discussion, they discussed about national flag also. That is the reason why they have asked this question. And the second thing is, because of the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, national flags were allowed for every citizen. They have amended this. As a result, this question was asked. One of the standard sizes of the national flag of India is 600 mm into 400 mm. The ratio of the length to height shall be 3:2. We all know that, right? The length should be 3. The height has to be 2. If you are doing this, the equation is going to come 3:2. So both are going to be correct. And correct explanation. This is very simple because this is right from our school days. We are studying this. In respect of the Constitution Day, they are asking what is a Constitutional Day. Again, very easy question. Constitution Day is celebrated on 26th November 1949, and from that day we are celebrating this as Constitutional Day every year to promote constitutional values. Yes, on this day of 26th November 1949, we do hereby adapt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution that was there in the preamble of India. As a result, this is celebrated as Constitutional Day every year. On 26th November 1949, the Constitution Assembly set up a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. This is not setting up a drafting committee, rather it was enacting day of Constitution. Very simple thing. Only statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is wrong. Hence, answer is C for this question. 15th question. India's public sector healthcare system largely focuses on curative care with limited preventive, promotive and rehabilitative care. Under India's decentralized approach to healthcare delivery, the states are primarily responsible for organizing the health services. Health is a state subject. As a result, health services are taken care by the states. Now, why this question was asked? This question was asked in the context of COVID-19, and this question was asked because of Pradhana Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. In the Pradhana Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, if you look at the scheme, there are two models here. One is Ayushman Bharat for tertiary healthcare services and secondary healthcare services. When it comes to the primary healthcare services in India, this was turned into health and wellness centers. So the primary healthcare centers in India was turned out to be health and wellness centers, and that was discussed in Finance Minister's budget speech this year. That is the result they asked. Hence, now why they have been turning primary healthcare centers into health and wellness centers? The answer is because unless and until I turn primary healthcare center into health and wellness centers, this cannot be possible. Preventive care cannot be possible, only curative care. So curative care is primary healthcare center, health and wellness is this one. So far we have neglected this and we have promoted this. So far we have neglected this, we have promoted this. So this statement is correct. And the second statement is also correct. But however, second statement is not correct explanation of first statement, because though it is under the state governments, you cannot clearly say that whether this is the exact reason. Statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. No, we cannot say that statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1. What happens even if it is in the central government also? So both are correct, but not a correct explanation. So B is the correct answer for this. 16th question. According to the Constitution of India, the central government has a duty to protect the states from internal disturbances discussed in quick revision program of AKS. So what is this article, guys? Article 355. Direct question. Constitution of India exempts the states from providing legal counsel to person being held for preventive detention. I said Article 21 of Indian Constitution discusses about preventive detention. Preventive detention laws are made by both central government and state governments. Hence, there is no exemptions to the states. Legal counsel, no exemptions. According to the Prevention of Terrorism Act, POTA. Why POTA is a dangerous thing, guys? Because this gives abnormal powers to the police. Abnormal powers to the police. Even if the investigative officer is a small policeman, and if you are confessing before him, that can be considered as a evidence as far as POTA is considered. Hence, according to the POTA Act, confessions of the accused before the police cannot be, they can be taken. Can be taken as an evidence. So then that will be correct. They have given cannot. So this is wrong. This is wrong. Only one statement is correct and A is the correct answer. Consider the following statements in respect of elections to the President of India. Very tough question, because though question was expected, answering all this by these choices is a very difficult thing. The members nominated to either houses of the Parliament of the legislative assemblies of the states are also eligible. Simple question. Nominated members are not eligible. So first statement is wrong. Higher the number of elective assembly seats, higher is the value of vote of each MLA. Now look here. You cannot say whether more number of elective assembly seats are there, more number of vote is there. This cannot be proven. Why? If you look at the value of vote of an MLA in the parliament elections, that is equal to total population of the state by total elected MLAs in the state legislative assembly into 1 by 1000. This is the formula that I have said and we have discussed. Now look here. Higher the number of elective assembly seats, higher is the value of each state. Now even though if it is higher, without knowing what this number is, you cannot decide whether this is going to be higher or lower. So the statement is incomplete statement. So the answer is wrong. You cannot decide. So second, the value of vote of each MLA of Madhya Pradesh is greater than that of Kerala. And again, this is a very static thing. This is in Kerala, which you have larger compared to Madhya Pradesh. Very static, guys. So this is wrong. First one is wrong. The value of vote of each MLA of Pondicherry is higher than that of Arunachal Pradesh, because the ratio of total population to the total number of elective seats of Pondicherry is greater than as compared to Arunachal Pradesh. As a result, this is correct. What they have given, they have explained this in this format. and that is correct thing. So only one statement is correct in this. So very difficult thing. So this is the question paper that we have. Now the question is, how is this polity section, guys? So how you can rate this polity altogether? Polity questions, there are 17 questions that was beautifully compiled by the institute. Now look here. Out of these 17 questions, 14 questions were very easy. Among these 14 questions, we myself has discussed on this platform in the prelims quick revision program of AKS. Very simple. There are 4 questions which are very difficult. Yes. Out of 17, I can say 13 questions are very easy. 4 questions are difficult, which cannot be solved by even the highest rankers also. So this is polity for you. Thanks for joining. Keep watching AKS IAS videos. Take care. Wish you all the best. Right. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, video share.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.